Welcome to the Secret Stash.
That's super secret.
And this is the only show that tracks down the local people behind the places and things we love.
I'm going to kick it off with my favorite thing ever.
Then goes deep to reveal the best kept secrets behind them all.
Why aren't we talking to people? Let them know. Shout out the rooftops. This is great.
And leave you with a stash of stories and offers you'll only find here. Now, here's your host, Jesse Ibanez.
Secret agent man, secret agent man. Giving you a number and taking away your name.
What's happening, Ray Luciites, Boomer Brain Trusters? Ray Lucia, by the way, high-fived him in the hallway. Still dropping like it's hot. What is it like? 2 days before Christmas, and he's still dropping 3 hours of financial talk, IRAs. The guy's amazing. And I'm only going to do my best to try to follow in his vapors. But that's what we do, baby, because we in the stash. And we got the coolest local people doing the coolest local things and the people and the stories behind them. My name is Jesse Ibanez. I'm going to be shepherding us through this next hour here, co-founder of the Greenhouse Group. But that's not what we do today. We talk about what these two lovely faces who are staring back at me across this profound, majestic table, and kind of dig a little bit into this one we're going to call Naughty and Nice. Perfect apropos for the Christmas upon us, yes? First, the naughty, all right? Now, follow me on this. Retail experts estimate that we're going to drop about $750 million. If you see me on the YouTube, I'll throw my pinky up when I drop that, Austin Powers style, this holiday season. Most of those transactions are going to be done through credit card, online, POS. You follow me on this, Joe Kissell?
Yeah.
Cyber criminals are literally feasting on us all right now as we hang out today in the stash. Experts are no longer a matter of if it's going to happen. It's more a matter of like when it's going to go down. And I picked up an article today that said there's 547 attacks every single day. Now, that number might sound dwarfed, but that's actually regionalized. So if you can think about that, like that's a staggering number with all of the trust that we get put into these cards and these transactions. You kind of get where I'm leading with this. So if you're like me, you're going to want to know what we can do about it. And that's why we've got Joe Kissell in the house, author of Take Control of Your Online Privacy. He's actually penned about 49 other titles. But Joe, welcome to the stash, my man.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Excited for your contributions you're going to make to us all today. And if that gave you a migraine, like it probably did most, or perhaps it was the Festivus that's upon us right now.
Yeah.
Eating, the drinking, the imbibing, maybe it's the inappropriate uncle's cracks of humor, the hilarious jokes at the expense of you and your blood pressure, right? Then we got you covered there too, because just to the right of my man, Joe, it's one of my favorite things. I'm not Oprah, but I got my own favorite things too.
Goodness for that.
And a perfect last-minute gift for your loved ones. We have Hillary Noyes in the house, owner and handmade creator of Wallace Hills Designs, who makes handmade pillows to crack the code on that nasty little booger we call migraines. So, Hillary, thank you for being in the house, Hillary.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Apparently, I'm the only one that wants you in the house today. I'm the only one that claps for you.
You guys are just too stressed to be excited.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, good. So, Joe, I want to loop back in with that and help me kind of understand a little bit. I mean, we've got basically an onslaught that's happening, and it's silent. It's not like someone comes up and picks a fight with you at the bar, right?
Right.
So what's the average person going to do about that? And is there something that they can do?
The average person's going to do all the wrong things.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Well, yeah. I mean, every year there are companies that, for example, they publish the list of the worst passwords from the previous year.
Oh boy, I can already feel my guilt hairs popping up right now.
There was this thing just recently where Sony got hacked, and tons of emails and personal information got out, and somebody published what the like the Sony CEO's password was, and I don't remember what it was, but it was like, you've got to be kidding. That's like I that would have been like the third thing I guessed. It was like so simple,
like first last name with a 1 next to it,
it was like something like that. It
or
was
like
his initials
2009.
Password 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So people do these really dumb things when it comes to passwords. Just as one of many examples. And of course, anytime there's one of these break-ins and there's some the list of passwords that people have used gets out. It's like, wow, 73% of people are still using password as their password or something ridiculous like that. People use the word baseball a lot. People use the word football a lot. I guess we have a lot of sports fans, but those are terrible passwords. And so, one of the things that I have tried to preach is don't be dumb, and doing things like that is kind of dumb. So I've written, as you say, quite a lot of books, and I have one book that's all about passwords and books about backing up and stuff, and the online privacy book talks about kind of you have to think about things like there was another recent news thing a month or so ago where it was revealed that some hackers in Russia were posting live videos from nanny cams all over the world. Like you buy a little thing to monitor your baby or babysitter or whatever, and it's sitting in there, and you don't know that people in Russia or anywhere else are watching what's going on in your house.
That's deadly.
But the reason this was happening was that most of these gadgets you buy come with default passwords for you to get in and see it, and people don't bother changing them.
People didn't even change them.
Right.
Wow.
That's creepy.
Man, that's remarkable. You had mentioned the Sony attack. Obviously, that's the big buzz this week. I don't even want to attempt to go down that rabbit hole. I don't think we would have the 3 hours to fully entertain that space.
Right.
But the one that's more topical, I think, to our discussion today is more recently the Target breach, and then the Neiman Marcus, right?
And Home Depot too.
Was Depot cracked too?
Yeah.
I didn't even get to that one. Now, here's my own little conspiracy theory, and I'm so glad to be able to pitch this against someone who's actually going to be able to know. My belief is that the number one thing that people can do, and I know I'm atop this list with guilt, is to be more vigilant about the email phishing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So here's my little conspiracy wrap. Everybody does transactions online right now. I mean, there was, I think, 9.2 million page views on Thanksgiving, 9.3 on Black Friday, and 11 million on Cyber Monday. That number's only going up every single year. Most people like me, they're doing their transactions, they're shopping online, right? So then what happens? You get an email ping that comes back that's like, hey, your thing went through, thumbs up, or hey, it's shipped or whatever.
Right.
So that fish is deadly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because then they're like, okay, cool. And then they like, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so merchant. You got to check this thing. Trojan horse, and you're done.
Yeah. Phishing is...
True or untrue?
Oh, absolutely. Phishing is a huge threat. And
So what's your number one thing for that then?
Well, I try to teach common sense. And that's not easy when you don't sort of understand the underlying technology. I mean, the easiest way to say it is just never click a link in an email message. That's not always practical because sometimes you're going to sign up for a mailing list and then immediately they say, okay, you need to click this link to confirm that you've signed up for the mailing. So, okay,
right.
But you did that.
Right.
But if something comes out of the blue, if it's, well, I'm not really sure that Apple needs me to reset my password. I'm not really sure that PayPal needs me to verify my account. If there's any doubt at all, don't click the link. Just go right to, if you get an email that looks like it's from Apple, don't click the link. Go to Apple's website and log in there. And if there was something there, then it'll show up. Another thing I recommend is there are, because these sites are trying to collect your passwords so they can break in your, usernames, passwords, and credit card information.
Monitor your keystrokes.
Of course. So they can.
Can I ask what might be a stupid question?
Yeah.
Can you get in trouble just by opening the email? Because how do you know if it's legit or not before you open it?
Well,
sorry, that was probably a complicated question.
You can't get in very much trouble just by opening an email. It used to be that merely the act of opening an email could do bad things, and Microsoft and Apple have worked hard over the years to make that less of a threat. But what's much more common is, doing whatever they're asking you to do in the email.
Right, actually taking an action once you've opened the email. That's usually where the breach occurs, traditionally speaking, right?
What they'll do is they'll put up, you click the link and you're looking at a site that looks like your bank's site or looks like PayPal or whatever, but it isn't really. It's fake.
Right.
And so another thing I recommend is if you use software that will fill in passwords automatically for you. There are a lot of them out there. There's 1Password and Dashlane and LastPass and a whole bunch of these. But that software, you'll record your password and it knows what site you're on when you record it. So now if you go to a phishing site and it looks like the real thing, but the address isn't quite right, it's a different site, it'll say, no, I'm not going to fill in your password here because I don't recognize this site. So that's another thing you can do to...
My man, Joe Kissell. By the way, Twitter handle at Joe Kissell. It's 2 S's, 2 L's. You can also go to takecontrolbooks.com. We're just scratching the surface here with what this man is going to drop some knowledge on all of our, I'm sure, seemingly now vulnerable online presence. And hopefully we'll take a couple away before we get too deep into this. Hillary, I want to also have an opportunity to get a little clearer, deeper understanding about what space you fill. And I love the concept of this being naughty nice. You, of course, being the sweet nice.
When you told me the concept of the show was naughty and nice, I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know which one I was going to be.
Well, that's good. We got to keep you guessing here, right? And who knows? We might see both sides
never know.
before our hour is up. But more specifically, though, I love what you have chosen your passion to be. Is this is a personal thing, of course, and I know we're gonna touch on that. But let me just kind of set the context a little bit. So, 1 in 4 households have one person at least, that's suffering from migraines currently in them. 10% of the population. Now, here's where it gets interesting. 18% of the women versus only 6% of the men. So, why is that? And what have you figured out to crack this code, Joe? To borrow that metaphor again, about how you're going to actually weave some magic potion into a little bag to be able to relieve some of this for the next person who's listening to you right now for the first time.
Yeah, so I'm definitely no medical expert on headaches and migraines.
But you did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
I did not. I don't get points at Holiday Inn. I am committed to others.
We need a little da-doonch on the soundboard here.
But I have suffered with migraines personally since I was a little kid, really. And they've changed as I've gotten older, and I definitely have heard and know from just talking to people that women are often more affected, whether that's because we do more work and are a little more stressed, who knows, or if it's just biological. But, I would first encourage people, if they are suffering from something like this, to go to their doctor, talk to their doctor. There's usually a lot of multimodal things that you need do to help. This is not, as much as I would love it to be, a secret magic potion that is a silver bullet. But I found for myself that just taking meds, while it sometimes helped and sometimes didn't always take it completely away. And, being that most of us have to get up and go to work or take care of kids, you can't just lay in bed all day, which is what you want to do when you have a migraine. You have to go out and be functional. And so anything I could try to make it easier to get up and go work and take care of my life, I was willing to try. And through kind of a combination of trial and error and desperation, I found that cold really helped my headaches, and kind of just pressure really helped. So first I was trying like the gel packs, those cold ice packs, but those don't really have any weight to them.
I think our freezer's riddled with those.
Yeah, and the other thing I really hate about them, especially when you're laying down, is as they start to melt, all of that water like runs all over your head and your face and onto your couch, and it's really
That's
gross.
not a good look.
And then you're laying in the wet spot, and that's not comfortable, right? So
it's so weird that you don't like that.
So I got desperate one day and went to my freezer, and I cook and bake a lot, which you know from past experience. And I keep my flour in the freezer, which those of you who bake should put your flour in the freezer when you first buy it. It helps kill any bugs that are in there. And I pulled out this.
Look at you dropping some like non-sequential information there.
Make you stressed out and can
Who
give
knows
you a
what you're going to
headache,
get out of Hillary today?
It's a surprise. So I took this 5-pound bag of frozen flour and laid down on the couch and put it on my head. And I realized that like the pressure, that weight felt really good on my headache. But that's super awkward to have this 5-pound bag of flour sitting on your head and it doesn't stay there and you move and it gets messy. So I experimented a little bit and ended up making myself a little rice-filled fabric pillow that could freeze and use for my own headaches
and heat.
I probably wouldn't eat them, but
No, heat.
Oh, heat.
Yes.
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 I was
Unless you get really hungry.
Actually,
the rice does have nutritional value.
You just sparked in my head that these could probably also be used as like a Walking Dead kind of stockpile.
There you go.
If we hit the zombie apocalypse, you'll have all this rice.
Look at you with the killer app today.
That, totally just made that up.
Yeah.
I do not recommend eating these unless we're truly in a zombie apocalypse. But yeah, so you can heat them as well if that helps for you. I know some people that helps for their headaches, but I've used them on my back, my shoulders, muscles. Ladies, if you get cramps, they're great for that. So then it just sort of took off, I guess. But it did. It started as just something that I needed for myself. And like you said, lots of people have chronic pain issues.
Well, we are just taking off, and that right there is also just a tip of the iceberg, because when we come right back out of the break, we're going to learn all about where both of these guys came from to come up with these brilliant ideas. If you want to go right now and see if you can get some last-minute gift items in for what we're about to talk about with Hillary there, you can go to wallacehillsdesigns.etsy.com. She actually hand makes those, which is pretty cool. And coming up, you're riding in the stash, baby. We got you in the noon hour. So what are you doing? You like navigating some traffic, going through Fashion Valley? You got us in the radio right now, ESPN 1700. By now, we already got the coolest local people doing the coolest local things. When we come back in 3 minutes, we're going to learn about how they all got here, and you're not going to want to miss that. Coming right up.
Be sure to follow the show on Facebook at Jesse's Secret Stash and on Twitter at Follow the Stash. You are listening to The Secret Stash with host Jesse Ibanez on ESPN Radio 1700.
What's happening, gang? I hope you got all your last-second Christmas shopping in order. You're probably catching right now in some parking lot called the 805 or the 5 or some random street off of Friars or whatnot. But thank you for being here, because you are in the stash, and we got some cool local peeps doing some cool local stuff. Specifically, Joe Kissell in the house, and he is going to educate us about everything to help squander the malicious attempts of people to steal our identity, including our funds and our money and all the cyber hacking stuff that's going on. Joe Kissell, thanks for hanging out with us, my man.
Nice to be here.
And Hillary Noyes, Wallace Hills Designs. You can catch her over on Etsy. And she is going to help you with that holiday migraine. That's either going to come from inappropriate comments from the uncle, too much sugar and booze, or who knows, maybe you're just one of the 1 in 4 people of every household that suffers from those consistently. So thank you for hanging out with us. And actually, you know what? We got another hangout person with us in the house. Andrea Ibanez. That's a weird last name. Isn't that really odd? I don't know a lot of Ibanez's.
No?
Do I know you?
Is it the Ibanez guitar? Is that where it comes from?
You know what?
Are you related?
I wish it was.
Are you related?
I wish it was.
Yeah.
That would probably change things for us a little bit. No, my wife, of course. She's hanging out. And so you are the anointed spokesperson of the day to kick off the Delush party, because Delush fuels these segments, right? So we got some high caffeinated fuel octane here in our hands. What are we holding on to?
All right. Well, I guess I'm filling in for E-Man.
I know.
So I'll try to take over E-Man's
Are you
role
gonna-
a little bit. So
Yeah.
ho, 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 yo, yo, yo. Thanks for having me. What am I holding here?
Yeah.
I'm holding onto a super sexy looking drink.
Yeah.
Beautiful cup. And it's got some crazy concoctions, but it's got ice. It's got a splash of cherry syrup, half a Red Bull, a half Sprite soda, and it's topped with a couple of cherries. Bam.
Booyah.
Boom.
And I'm
That's what
wondering
it
if the
says.
sexy and the hot is not just the person who's presenting it right now, but I'm partial. I'm a little partial, truth be told. Disclaimer.
Thank you.
This is their sun god drink, right?
Yes,
After
cherry
the
sun god.
UCSD. That's the UCSD mascot, right? Isn't that
You're
their...
asking
It's an
the wrong
event.
person.
It's an event they have.
I think that's also their...
The sun god.
Okay, no, everybody's looking at me with blank eyes right now. I think that's their, dude. I could be wrong. Shame on me for being wrong if that's wrong. I know they have that event up there. I thought that was a play on that's who their mascot is. In any event, Delush is up there. We know that for sure. And you can go check out and get your hands on one of these yourself. Thank you, Andrea, for being in the house. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Solid fill-in. Now, right before the break, we got a little... context as to who you guys are professionally, but I want to dig in a little bit of how you got here personally. So, Joe, you've traveled the longest in this story. So, help me understand now, how in the world did you get to San Diego and doing what you're doing now today?
Well, how I got to San Diego was really easy. I just took a plane.
Again, where's that drum?
Yeah.
I need that little
I
button.
should have
need
done
a
that
little
instead
room
of
shot.
driving in a car with a dog and 2 cats. That would have been way easier.
Well, so when I first encountered you, I was living in Paris. So my wife and I have lived a number of places, but we were in Paris for 5.5 years, and we had been living in San Francisco before. We decided to have an adventure. We moved to Paris for 5.5 years. We had a child who was born there, so that in itself was quite an adventure. And
That was just it, just an adventure? It's just like, hey, let's go do this crazy thing. You pin the tail on the globe and you ended up in Paris?
That's a little bit of an oversimplification, but kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, we had been to Paris a couple of times on vacation, loved it, and I mean, we traveled a lot of other places too. We've been to Patagonia and Indonesia, and we love to travel, although a little less so with 2 kids. But anyway,
Right.
But we were feeling kind of like, life is a little bit dull. Let's do something different. Let's do something exciting. So we went to Paris, and we didn't know how long we were going to stay there. We sort of told people, well, we'll be there for, let's say, 3 years, and we'll see what happens. And we still liked it after 3 years, and ended up being there for 5. And when we decided that our adventure was done and it was time to come back to the States, we had these long talks about, okay, so where now? I mean, we had lived in San Francisco before, but San Francisco's really, really expensive. And we just kind of felt like, well, I think we're done with that. And we talked, my wife's from Canada. We didn't think we were going to live in Canada. And we talked about just all these places that anybody had ever said was cool. Well, somebody says, oh, you got to live in Austin, Texas. Austin's really cool. Or you got to live in Portland. Portland's really cool. Or live in New York. What an adventure. Live in New York City.
Yeah.
So we talked about all these places and more. And we'd get excited about them for, a week or so. And then we'd kind of go, I don't really think that's going to work out for me for whatever reason. And then finally, Morgan, my wife, said, every time you talk about San Diego, because I lived in San Diego before in the mid-'90s, every time you talk about San Diego, your eyes just light up, and you seem to really like it. Why don't we think about San Diego? I'm like, well, yes, we could do that. Morgan she'd been here for 2 days once on vacation, so I was a little bit nervous about saying, yes, we'll move back to the States and buy a house in a place you've never, really spent any time. But,
trust me on this.
Yes, but kind of, yes. So we found Jesse online, and we went through. I mean, it was crazy. We were first-time home
not
buyers.
Craigslist adult,
Yeah, I was like,
guys.
no.
Okay,
Right.
Let's let him clarify.
No, but we had never bought a house. We never owned a house before. And so so that was one challenge, moving to another country, and also the whole process of finding and buying a house from France. And it worked out. It was crazy. I think Jesse and Jeremy were as astonished as we were that it actually worked out. And much to my delight, my wife really liked the house, the neighborhood, the city. And
Your upstairs neighbors that were looking down on you.
well, now this is interesting.
No.
I had no idea. I walked in right before the show, talking to Hillary, and she's, oh, this is that guy from France, the guy who, and so she lived in the condo that was right behind my house.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It's crazy.
There are more stories, but maybe maybe not worth it. Anyway, that was
Tune
very
into
cool.
the online chat module
Right.
after the show for more stories.
Take me out to lunch and I'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
But so we San Diego turned out to be a place that, of course, the weather was definitely a factor. Although, like I promised my wife 72 and sunny year round, and then, what do we get? First of all, we get like torrential rain the first week we're here, and then we get this drought, and then, an unseasonably hot summer. And so this week is great. This week is kind of perfect weather.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful place, and a place that I really enjoyed living before. I love the people here. I love the climate. I love the proximity to other things. It's not far from LA. It's not far from Las Vegas. It's not far from Mexico. So it's just really, really nice. And I was really happy that we found a home in Normal Heights because, we're not very tall and we're not very short. So that was sort of the appropriate place for us to live.
I love me some Normal Heights. Almost as much as I love Kissell dropping little goodies like that. And, the thing I think that's most astonishing about that story is that you, by virtue of what you do, basically your contribution to this life, the value that you provide and create, allows you to be very mobile.
Yeah.
It was allowed you really the wings to be able to go hang out in France and do the whole rider thing. I'm sure you probably grew your hair out a little bit too long and made some bad decisions out there.
Had a lot of absinthe, yeah.
Yeah. Hung out in some cool like street cafes and whatnot.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And then also gave you the ability to sink back into the consciousness that is San Diego. It's like the best band from high school and the best CD that just never gets old.
Yeah, well, we'd always, people would say, well, how could you leave Paris? I'm like, well, the burritos kind of suck. It's impossible to get good Mexican food in Paris, really. And so
solid call.
Yeah,
Hillary choked on her sun god.
Almost was
there,
just
right
sun god
there.
all over this table.
Yeah.
And as I told Jeremy, like when we closed in our house, we celebrated with some California sparkling wine, and that was a real treat for us because all you can get in France is champagne.
Tragic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would hate to live there.
Yeah.
Andrea just sunk in the chair about 6 inches there. And that's, I think, the part of this local show that I appreciate the most. And so, Joe, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. And we're going to get back after this mid-break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the other titles that you're responsible for as well. And I know that there are plenty of Michiganites hanging out because I don't know what it is about San Diego. Could it possibly be the weather? Could it maybe be that it's snowing where you're backing from? But if you hang right back up, hang back out right after this quick little Sports Center break, we're going to learn about how Hillary got here. And it's a really cool story, so you're not going to want to miss this. You're hanging out in the stash, baby. Secret Stash, we got your noon hour. So hopefully get those presents, last-second presents all taken care of and spoken for. And we'll be back here for another half hour right after this.
If you missed any of the show, check out the podcast at secretstashradio.com.
When I met you in the summer.
Welcome back to the Secret Stash with host Jesse Ibanez on ESPN Radio 1700.
What's happening, gang? I so appreciate you hanging out with us here. It's like a little Christmas gift you're giving to me, and then I'm giving it back to you because you're learning all about how to stay safe online and how to get rid of those headaches. And also a cool little last-minute stocking stuffer, too, because we got Joe Kissell in the house, and we got Hillary Noyes in the house. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Appreciate you both. Appreciate you both. Hillary, just before the break, we were kind of getting into that little space called where you came from. And I love, my favorite thing in this life is to track the hero's journey. I love finding out how people got from where they were to where it is that they are now, where they wanted to be. So help us understand that now. So, where did you start and how in the world did you get here?
So I started in Michigan, around the Detroit area. That's where my family all still lives. And I'm actually a veterinarian in my regular hustle. So I went to Michigan State, woohoo, for vet school.
No one's woohooing you. You're all by yourself.
I'm woohooing, and I know there are Spartans out there.
No, there's a ton of Spartans out there. You're absolutely right about that.
So there's this kind of crazy program that we don't need to get into for both human medical students and veterinary students that when you finish school and you're going to do your internship, you get to kind of choose the list of places that you're interested in going. But you don't really get to choose the place. They sort of just take the list, and then you rank your places, and the places rank the applicants, and this crazy computer chews it all out and spits out and says, you're going here, and you have to go. You're contractually obligated. So it said, you're going to San Diego. And I was like,
darn.
okay. And I, like Joe, I love to travel, and I'd never really thought I would be the kind of person who would end up settling in one place forever. I kind of always wanted to see a little bit of everything. But I packed up that Honda Civic and drove myself out here with a 3-legged pit bull and 2 cats in the car by myself because there was no room for any other people.
That's like the premise of a Tarantino movie.
It totally could have been a movie. It was crazy. I actually lost one of the cats in a cornfield in Iowa at one point, and I got her back. She was fine. But we had like a serious heart-to-heart about, you're either going to get back in this car or I'm leaving you here forever. And we made it. It was fine. But even though that year was, internship, it's like 80 hours a week, and you're just crazy and learning and busy and not sleeping, and it's, Grey's Anatomy with dogs and cats. I just knew that San Diego was home. Like I just knew. Yeah. And it's the weather's great, and I'm not certainly never going to complain about the weather coming from Michigan, but it's not just that. A lot of it's what Joe said, that in 2 hours I can be in Mexico, the ocean, the mountains, snow, desert, anywhere. You have everything. You have city, you have hiking. It's just a little bit of everything, and it just felt right. So I'm here to stay, and eventually bought my forever house, and so that's how I got to San Diego. And in terms of the business, I kind of told a little.
This started
bit.
out of a need, right? I mean, come on. Why don't you share a little bit personal story about that?
So I, as a child, I had really bad migraines. And I think a lot of kids do, especially as they're kind of transitioning into teenagerhood.
Well, and here's something too. I don't know if you know this, but it's hereditary.
So that's interesting because my family, nobody on my family has them.
Well, so check out this stat just to play on this. So if one parent suffers from migraines, there's a 40% chance that their kid will.
Wow.
If both parents do, it jumps to 90.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. I must be the DNA mutation in my family, the first one, and I guess that's another reason for me not to have kids. We don't need to go down that road.
So you told the story earlier about the flour and the pressure and stuff like that. So how did that transmute into what we're holding on to today, and people could see in the video? So,
we've talked a lot about headaches, and that's why I designed these for myself. But they can also be used just as well for other types of chronic pain. So joint pain or
like my back spasm, I actually had this week, and I heated it up, and it cured that.
Yeah, you guys have a few of these at home, I know. So I gifted the first few out to people in my family, and it was actually right around this time of year, the holidays. My mom suffers from a lot of stress, just trying to do things for other people. My dad has always had sinus issues, and so I kind of gifted them just to my immediate family. Yeah. And I didn't even know all of what they would and could be used for. I get stories all the time, people buy them or gifted them and then tell me, oh, I use it for this and it helps me so much for X, Y, and Z. And so, it's kind of one of those catch-alls that can be used for any chronic pain issue or even...
Or how about pregnancy, right? I mean, Andrea, isn't that how you got your first one?
Well, yes, I can totally speak to what Hillary's talking about. I had them since I was little as well, migraines. And then I made myself like a little science experiment because I was sick and tired of taking all these medications that, was taking away that migraine, but it was giving me something else.
All the side effects.
Feeling lousy. So I said, this can't be possible. I'm a healthy human being. So what's wrong? So I kind of just started to see what was happening, and I finally figured out that it's a combination of things. And now I have a ritual that I do so that I can avoid having migraines. What I was eating, sugar.
No question.
So I changed my diet.
Because Hill, isn't that true? Diet's a huge part of it.
Yeah, and there are different triggers for everybody. One of my main triggers, obviously not when I was a teenager, and my headaches have evolved a little bit since I've grown up. They're different now, but one of my main triggers is hops and beer, and that's super tragic living here, but I can't drink it. I know I can. It's just something I have to avoid. But so and avoiding triggers is huge.
And wine.
And the wine
sad.
for
That
you,
makes
Dre.
me sad.
Yes.
So wine was part of your ritual?
Yes. Well, that was more to relax me, but so anyway, so it was food And then water was a big one because I had no idea, but I was very dehydrated.
We're all
a lot of the
dehydrated,
time.
they say.
Yep.
So just keeping myself very hydrated, eating healthy food, exercising, sleeping, and then also then using this pillow, which I think one of the top buyers.
You might be one of my top customers. Yeah.
From Hillary. And, just letting my muscles relax before night. The lavender pillow is my favorite one.
Got you through pregnancy.
And
You even give them out as gifts, right?
Yes, so during pregnancy, it was, my migraines came back.
Yeah.
And I used it for with the hot, and then I used the cold as well. And that got me through my pregnancy because I couldn't take any meds.
Oh, I'm so glad that it helps.
And now I give them to my friends who are pregnant.
You do.
Which to hopefully
know a lot
get them
of
through
pregnant
it.
people.
I know. I
Which
do
I'm
have
like
the bug. And
easing my
Hillary
chair
is
a little bit away
scared.
from Andrea.
Yeah. It's like, more? Where are you getting all these pregnant people
what
from?
What are you doing?
So Hill, is it just migraines then? Maybe you can kind of cap this off. So let's look in the future a little bit. Let's borrow your eyeballs. Where are we at right now? Where's this heading?
So right now, I've expanded a little bit to. Andrea mentioned the lavender pillows. So all of my pillows have some sort of aromatherapy in them. Or there are people who prefer, especially when they have a headache, to have no scent at all. So that's an option. But I get organic lavender from a farm in Escondido. I hand crush cinnamon and cloves for kind of a more warming one. I hand grow rosemary organically in my garden. So there's a whole there's a whole bunch of different aromatherapy scents. I have a chocolate one. I actually get cocoa beans from Eclipse Chocolate, which is right in my hood, and toast them and grind them and put them in there. And that one is really popular with the ladies. So that's one thing. And then being from Michigan, this time of year, terrible weather. We know last year everybody went through the polar vortex for months and months and months.
Yeah.
And so perfect little stocking stuffer actually, again, started as gifts for people I knew, and then it grew from there. Make little rice-filled hand warmers, and you just pop them in the microwave for a minute and stick them in your pockets. And so then when you're walking in class or cleaning the snow off your car, kind of helps keep your hands warm. And then something that I just started doing as well, and this was always in my mind as one of the things I wanted in there, but some things just take us a little longer than others. Because of my training as a veterinarian, I know that a lot of animals suffer from stress and anxiety, either chronically.
Let's see where this is going.
Ooh, joint pain.
We've got joint pain too. So you could use these pillows on pets. Of course, always talk to your veterinarian about multimodal approaches and things like that. But I've also started doing lavender infused pet beds or pet mats and different sizes. They're great for the cats to pop into the carrier when you're taking them in the car because no cat likes that. In the crate if your dog has separation anxiety. And again, none of these are just going to be silver bullets, but in other things that the vets can help do, they can definitely help take that anxiety level down a notch and calm everybody down. One of my friends just bought one of the pillows, and she keeps sending me pictures of her dog having stolen it, and the dog is cuddling with it, and she doesn't get to use it anymore.
Oh man, I definitely want one of those.
So my my kind of approach is whatever people need. And people have approached me with, I think somebody that actually you referred to me, Andrea, came and she said, my headaches really go down my face. And she had a lot of pain down in her cheeks and her facial
sinuses,
muscles. So she asked me to make her one that kind of was a mask that covered the whole face.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
Yeah.
Dude.
Wow.
Really?
And she forgot to say that the fabrics she chooses are super cute and adorable.
That's your favorite part about
Can't
them.
you pick if you want something specifically?
Custom.
I'll do custom
right?
anything.
So custom, multiple uses, and you're even working in like pets and stuff? Whoa, Joe, that's exciting. Joe got a little excited there.
Oh, my cat is going to be very happy.
Oh, good.
Gang, listen, obviously, you already know that this has got to make your last second list right now. Or if not, hey, great opportunity to pick something up for the new year. Go to Wallace Hills Designs. .etsy.com. Go check it out, get an order, and she'll actually hand make it, and you might even be able to customize it as well. And coming up, we're going to learn a little bit more about what titles Joe also has to offer on his Taking Control Books website. And then we're going to play a little game that we love called Heads Up. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss these two making fools of each other. Hanging out in the Secret Stash, baby. We'll be right back.
Be sure to follow the show on Facebook at Jesse's Secret Stash and on Twitter at Follow the Stash.
Put your hands in the air.
You're listening to The Secret Stash with host Jesse Ibanez on ESPN Radio 1700.
What's it gonna be, Jeff? Appreciate it, man. Thanks for keeping it live up in the stash. And listen, you two have done a solid job at getting us and our little heads kind of wrapped around what you do. But what I'd love for you to do, Hillary, if you could please, what are you going to leave in the stash for somebody to be able to try out one of these pillows for themselves?
So I am leaving in the stash a coupon code on the Etsy shop, which again is wallacehillsdesigns.etsy.com. And if you use coupon code SECRETSTASH, you'll get 20% off any order over $10.
20% off. Yeah. And she's custom, and she does it. You guys got to check that out.
Applies to custom orders, too.
Love it. Nice work. Thank you, Hillary. Appreciate. And my man, Joe Kissell, you are a man of many pens, a man of many talents. I think the first few titles I ever found of yours were all like Apple related, which is funny because you're supposed to like Apple's whole thing is like supposed to be plug and play, but that's never how it is, right? Yeah. So give us an idea. What are you leaving in the stash, and what's next for you?
So I'm leaving a coupon code for 50% off. Any Take Control book. Damn! In fact, not just one book. There are a couple hundred in the catalog, so you could order 50 of them and get the entire order for half off. So go to takecontrolbooks.com, and when you get to you pick out whatever books you want. Hopefully, most of them are written by me, preferably. And when you get to your shopping cart, just enter the coupon Joe Book, and you'll get half off your entire order.
Joe Book. That's the coupon code.
One word, doesn't case insensitive, so it doesn't matter if it's capitalized or not. But Joe Book is the key to 50% off your entire Take Control order.
Nice work, my man. I appreciate that. And they can go to takecontrolbooks.com, right?
Right on. And, I've written, as you say, Jesse, I've written a lot about Apple stuff. I have a book that just came out earlier this month, a second edition of my book on Apple Mail. So if you're using Apple Mail for email on your iPhone, iPad, Mac, whatever, I also have a book, Take Control of iCloud, so that's for Apple's online services. But a lot of my books are not specific to Apple. Take Control of online privacy, which we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Take control of your passwords. And I have a book called Take Control of Thanksgiving Dinner. We're after Thanksgiving now, but if you're going to cook, turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and stuff for a crowd for Christmas,
apparently that was funny.
that book could still help you. So,
or you could take control of next year's Thanksgiving.
That's right. Take control of next year's Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah.
Do you have one that's called Take Control of the Soundboard?
That'll be my next one.
Hey, thank you for making us all sound really smart right now. That's a perfect segue. Jeff, let's get silly up in here. Let's play some games, baby.
And now it's time for your favorite thing to do on Tuesdays.
Hell yes!
It's Games Out, Memes Out.
Let the games begin!
Where we put our favorite guests to the test.
By winning. I win here and I win there. Winning.
But watch out, because you just might end up on the
Win here and I win
meme
there.
Hall of Fame.
Winning.
But watch out, because you just might end up on the meme Hall of Fame. Jesse Ibanez.
All right, gang. So obviously we've got the holiday theme. So my man, we're doing heads up, a little game of charades back and forth. Hillary has to guess. Joe is delivering. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Drop it like it's hot.
A small town that
Detroit.
2 words.
two words. A small town that is designed to express the theme of the season.
First word is right now.
Right now, I don't. What?
First
pass.
word is
Okay, pass. Good.
terrible.
That was solid.
the animals that pull.
Reindeer.
Yes, nice work.
I know animals.
What comes before Jack Frost nipping at your nose?
Oh, good one, Joe.
Oh God, ask
it's
the
a
Jew.
song. It's
Come
a
on,
song.
This is rigged.
It's a song.
It's a title of a song.
It's Frosty the Snowman.
That pass. Pass.
This is all Christmas themed.
Another song. We would not say
Jingle
this in San
bells.
Diego. No, it's about the weather in...
Maybe it's cold outside.
Oh,
Right
nice work.
Where do I go? Down.
That was solid.
Something to the world.
Joy.
Right on.
Nice work.
A generic word for Christmas and Easter.
Holidays.
Nice
Oh,
work.
that totally counted.
Okay, that's solid. That's solid. Go ahead and save that. Save that, Adrian. That's a solid start out of you, Hillary. Nice work.
You
nice
can tell
work.
I've never
There were
done this
no
before.
Hanukkah-themed
That was
questions
big
there.
time right there. Big time. Let's
Filing
run
a
it right
complaint.
back. Now Joe's got to guess. Hillary's delivering. Holiday theme. Let's do this.
All right. The thing that I was just complaining about. So the alternative Jewish holiday that happens.
Hanukkah.
Okay, and what would you say if you were doing a greeting to somebody?
Happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
Nice work. Solid.
So this is a Dr. Seuss character. He's green.
The Grinch.
Yes.
Nice work.
This is something that is often a party theme now. It's an article of clothing. They're not pretty, and they're really warm, and you wear them.
Scarf, mittens.
No, it'd be like a shirt, a type
might
of
be a
shirt
pass. This might
that
be a
is
pass.
really unattractive and has like reindeer and lights and
sweater?
are knitted. Yes.
Okay.
What type of that would you wear this time of year?
Oh,
That have like
Pass it. Gotta go.
sorry.
What does Santa say?
Ho, ho, ho.
Yes. I think this is a movie that I've never seen. It's a really old movie. It's a
Miracle on
holiday movie.
34th Street?
Yes.
No way.
Can you see in the window? This is
No.
a movie that I have seen with Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, that would have been good. Nice work, you guys. That was solid. That was solid work out of you guys. Lots of good
I know, it
collaborative
was like
there.
that
And a
see in the
Thing I thought
window?
of. No, I couldn't see anything.
perfect kickoff for the holiday season, the holiday spirit. And that's what I want to thank all you guys right now for taking time out of your day and coming in and hanging out with us and hearing two stories of some cool local people doing some cool local stuff. Joe Kissell, Take Control Books. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks very much for having me.
Go to takingcontrolbooks.com, Joe Books, to get the coupon code. And Hillary Noyes, owner of Wallace Hills Designs. They go to Etsy store, and what do they do there?
Secret Stash coupon
Secret
code.
Stash coupon code to get yourself one of these kick-ass pillows. And we're going to be back hanging out next week, gang. Believe it or not, we'll be here for the 30th to be able to do your New Year's show. Have a wonderful Christmas, you guys. We love you. Thanks for hanging out in the stash. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to The Secret Stash. If you missed any of the show, check out the podcast at secretstashradio.com. And we'll be back next Tuesday at noon right here on ESPN Radio 1700.